Today, signaling the latest round in the battle of the ballot in Bernalillo County.
Yeah, the fight about whether voters can weigh in on reducing penalties for pot possession could be going to court today. Bernalillo County commissioners will consider that in a closed-door meeting. The Secretary of State is refusing to put these non-binding poll questions that the commission approved on the general election ballot for November. Commissioners have mixed reactions about whether the Secretary of State even has the right to make that decision.
The law is very clear that Diana Duran's job is purely ministerial, that she does not have the ability to pick and choose what questions or candidates she wants to put on the ballot.
I think it's ridiculous, personally. I don't think we should be pursuing legal action. What we're trying to do is tell the Secretary of State that she doesn't have the legal right to do what she has the legal right to do.
The poll questions approved by the Bernalillo County Commission would ask voters their opinions on decriminalizing the possession of small amounts of pot and a tax hike to fund programs for the mentally ill. We'll let you know what happens.
Many Albuquerque city workers learned they're getting a raise, but that pay hike could lead to a court battle. Mayor R.J. Berry announced more than 2,000 city workers, including security, clerical workers, and bus drivers, will get a 3% raise. The city and the union representing those workers were unable to strike a deal for 4 years, meaning no raises during that time period. With negotiations still stalled, the mayor went ahead and imposed his own terms. The union says that's illegal.
Because the city, like I said, in our opinion, is violating the law. By unilaterally imposing these conditions, they are usurping their own ordinance, they are breaking the law. And, we believe that what they're doing is wrong.
In our blue-collar, transit, clerical, and security units that haven't seen any of these 4 raises that we've been able to offer over the last couple of years. And quite frankly, I'm tired of waiting.
Well, now the union plans to take the city to court. The raise costs about $3 million. The city council has already set that money aside. And thousands of state workers owed back pay will finally get their money. The state Supreme Court ruled last year that 10,000 current or former employees are entitled to retroactive pay increases because the Richardson administration did not follow union contracts in distributing 2008 salary money. The money was supposed to be paid in June, but it never happened. The governor's office now says most of those checks will go out this month and the rest in the first half of October.
Well, if you tuned out this weekend and are wondering who is leading the race for governor, it is the governor, Susana Martinez. This is according to a new poll from the Albuquerque Journal. In it, the governor has doubled her lead over her challenger, Gary King, since the middle of August. The latest poll was done just last week. It found that Ms. Martinez had upped her advantage to 54% of likely voters. Mr. King's numbers dropped to 36%. That gives Martinez a lead of 18 percentage points. An auto repair shop in Santa Fe that appealed a ruling to pay for a hurt worker's medical marijuana still has to pay up. The New Mexico Court of Appeals ruled that the worker was hurt on the job and is using medical pot for chronic back pain. The business owner and its insurance company argued paying for the medical marijuana as part of workers' comp violates the federal law. But a New Mexico appeals court rejected that, saying it was, quote, reasonable and necessary medical care from a health care provider. Well, the Albuquerque Veterans Affairs Office is admitting veterans' personal information was inadvertently released. Back in July, a folder with names and social security numbers of more than 2,600 veterans was found in a public restroom. The VA says there are no reports of criminal activities involved with the vets' personal information, but it will offer free credit monitoring to them. The worker who misplaced the folder voluntarily resigned.
An Albuquerque beef jerky company is recalling one of its products. The recall includes all vacuum-packed plastic bags of Claude's beef jerky with red chili. During a routine inspection, the USDA found the company, Jerky by Art, was making the products without an inspection. On top of that, the jerky is not labeled for allergens. For more on the recall and what to look out for, go to our website, KRQE.com, and click on links. People in Farmington are being asked to boil water after a malfunction at the city's water treatment plant. Officials say bacteria is contaminating the water system. They say residents in the east part of the city may be affected, east of Butler Avenue to eastern city limits to be exact. Residents are asked not to drink or serve water without boiling it first. For now, they ask that boiled or bottled water be used for drinking and preparing food until further notice. For more info on this, go to our website, krqe.com, and again, click under links.
505 now. A U.S. intelligence official says ISIS has more resources than any other terrorist group in history. According to Associated Press sources, the group has become a self-sustaining financial juggernaut, earning more than $3 million a day from oil smuggling, human trafficking, theft, and extortion. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and diplomats from around the world are in Paris today to try to form a global strategy to defeat ISIS. British Prime Minister David Cameron is calling an emergency meeting of his advisors after ISIS beheaded a British citizen this weekend and threatened another.
They claim to do this in the name of Islam. That is nonsense. Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
David Cameron is promising to support the U.S. military. President Obama has promised no U.S. combat troops on the ground as the fight expands from Iraq to Syria. Congress is set to vote this week on the president's request for $500 million to train and equip Syrian rebels to fight ISIS. That is expected to pass. Also this weekend, with this, a number of Arab countries in the Middle East say they would join the U.S. in the airstrikes. Not just support them, but would actually use their planes and their bombs.